We're talking TBI, traumatic brain injury, a topic that comes up quite a bit with many questions. More than we can cover in one video, but maybe a series. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. Now, specifically, I want to hit on this. TBI is a neurological disorder caused by trauma to the brain that disrupts normal brain functions. This is key. We're talking specifically about VA claim purposes. Let's just jump over right to the CFR. We are over at Title 38, Chapter 1, Part 4, Subpart B, neurological conditions and convulsive disorders. Scrolling down to the section of emphasis here, 8045. Now, I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit. And the very first thing I want to hit on is that this part right here. There are three main areas of distinction that may result in TBI having a profound effect on functionings. One, cognitive. Two, emotional behavioral. And three, physical. Each of these areas of this function may require evaluation. This is one of the biggest things to focus on because many veterans don't understand at times why things are lumped together. It's the brain, it's connected to everything. So, understanding that you may have to speak about how the TBI affects you cognitively, emotionally, behaviorally, and physically. We'll touch on this, right? A few things I've highlighted I want to hit on as I scroll down, then I'll give some thoughts. Is they're going to evaluate cognitive impairments under the table titled Evaluation of Cognitive Impairments and Other Residuals of TBI Not Otherwise Classified. There's a table. We're going to get there. If we're looking at emotional behaviors, again, on the cognitive, that's how they're going to look at it. Emotional behavioral, you'll see the same thing. Evaluate emotional symptom behaviors under the criteria titled Evaluation Cognitive Impairments under Other Residuals of TBI Not Otherwise Classified. On the physical side, though, you see here, it's function based on the following list under appropriate diagnostic codes. So they're going to evaluate it based on whatever you're dealing with, right? So we're dealing with instances like tinnitus or hearing loss, right? Those things will be then factored in. We jump to that rating criteria. Check. When we're looking at for here again, the title with that we just referenced here, right? Evaluation of cognitive impairments and other residuals of TBI not otherwise classified. Say that three times real quick. It contains 10 important facets of TBI related to cognitive impairment and subjective symptoms. It provides a criteria for levels of impairment for each facet, appropriate, ranging from 0 to 3, and then 5 being the highest level of impairment total, right? Now, and then you see there how it kind of looks down as far as percentage is concerned and all that. The red here is one of the biggest things I want to focus on. If we're looking at this here, it says there may be overlap of manifestations of conditions evaluated under the table titled Evaluation of Cognitive Impairments and Other Residuals of TBI Not Otherwise Classified with manifestation of a comorbid mental or neurological or other physical disorder that can be separately evaluated under a diagnostic code. Now, here, if the manifestation of two or more conditions cannot be clearly separated, assign a single evaluation under whichever set of diagnostic criteria allows for better assessment of the overall impaired functioning due to both conditions, aka migraines TBI, PTSD TBI. Why did they give it to me together lumped? Right? However, right, this last part here, if the manifestations are clearly separable, assign a separate evaluation for each condition. And that's where veterans get jacked up. Let's go down to the evaluation of cognitive impairments and other residuals of TBI not otherwise classified. Tongue twisters. 10 areas. 1. Memory, attention, concentration, executive functions, judgment, social interactions, orientation, motor activity with intact motor or sensory systems, visual spatial orientation, subjective symptoms, neurological effects, communication, and consciousness. And again, we can look at various things here. If we're looking at neurobehavioral effects, a lot of things are very similar to the mental health side of the house. If we're looking at objective symptoms, you'll see things here like headaches, tinnitus, frequent insomnia, things of that such. If we're looking at visual orientation, we have instances, for example, where maybe unable to touch own body with parts when asked by the examiner, identify relative position of space and time and objects. Again, if we're looking at things like motor activity, right? Are there instances due to motor activity being severely decreased due to apraxia? Orientation, are we having issues when it comes to aspect orientations and then the social interaction and things like that? Now, the biggest thing to focus on here is obviously, as you can see, there's a lot to touch on here, right? On the memory, attention, concentration, executive functions, right? On the severe side, objective evidence of testing of severe impairment of memory, attention, concentration, executive function, resulting in severe functional impairment. The thing here is that veterans are at different ranges of this. Things come and go, they wax and wane. However, if we're talking about conditions, please understand that I can have had a traumatic event that caused both PTSD and TBI. Now, from a PTSD perspective, all those psychological things are happening. But from a TBI perspective, I'm also dealing with sensory speech issues, locomotive movement problems, and I have to talk about that. Sometimes veterans just focus too much on the fact that a traumatic event happened. I have PTSD, I have sleep issues, I have all these things, and all you're saying is things that they cannot distinguish, as we literally just looked at up here. The inability to be able to differentiate, right, the manifestations of your TBI is huge. Please understand, when we're talking TBI, it affects the entire body, right? We look at the cognitive, we're looking at executive functions, we're talking about physical things. Again, whatever it is you're dealing with, be able to truly look at all those things and understand that over time, things do get worse and may manifest. Just because you have a rating now doesn't mean you can't go back later to potentially argue for an increase or a separation or what have you. Please be aware that you have to be detailed to what exactly area of your body, of your psychology, of your mind, of your brain, of everything is affected, and how you're going to speak about these things. If you have questions, we have some answers. Jump into the comment section. Again, a very deep dive, more than I can cover very quickly, but hopefully this opens your minds and brings you to start asking questions about this, because you don't want to go to a CMP and then try to figure this out. You want to understand what exactly is it you're dealing with so you can truthfully and rightfully claim, which is why we don't do cookie cutter answers. You need more details for your specific condition. We'll see you in the comment section if this is something that you'd be interested to be able to break down in series and segments, because again, this right here, just going through this, is at least 5 parts just to look at all the different things. But if you're interested, let me know and we'll put that together for you all. In the meantime, see you in the comment section if you have questions or comments or tips that you may want to share with others.